And there's a conversation, it's in the conversations, Prabhupada talks about how Lord Dwarkadish wanted Prabhupada to go back to India. And Prabhupada didn't want to go. Prabhupada didn't want to go because his spiritual master had given him the Western world to preach in. And Prabhupada considered that his godbrothers, they were given India to preach in. So there was no need for him to be in India. And furthermore, that he had just gotten the Watsika Avenue facility, and he wanted to develop that as the world headquarters for the Hare Krishna movement. But in this conversation, Prabhupada says that Lord Dwarkadish ordered me to go. And he said, I was talking with the deity, and I was arguing with Lord Dwarkadish that I don't want to go. And Lord Dwarkadish was commanding me to go, that I want you to go. And Prabhupada is saying, but I have this very nice temple, and I want to develop it. And Lord Dwarkadish said, all right, I want you to go to India, that if you go to India, I will give you a temple that is better than this Watsika. You know, Prabhupada couldn't refuse that. Prabhupada said, all right. And then, of course, Prabhupada came to India, and Prabhupada got the Krishna Balaram Mandir.
When Srila Prabhupada was leaving at the airport, my son Gopal was 3 years old, and he sat next to Srila Prabhupada with all of his servants while we were waiting for Prabhupada to board the plane. And they offered Srila Prabhupada a glass of orange juice, and Prabhupada said, give it to him, he will drink it. So my son drinks the orange juice, and then they give the cup back to the servants, and they fill it up again, thinking we'll give Prabhupada another glass of orange juice. And Prabhupada said, give it to him. And then he says, you want to come? He says, where's your ticket? And then he nudged him with his arm, and he said, so you'll be the next Acharya? Like that.
Devotees were all putting on garlands, and I came up and paid my obeisances and touched Prabhupada's lotus feet and put the garland on him. And then when I bowed down to touch Prabhupada's feet again, he looked down at me and I looked up, and that was when I knew that this was my spiritual master. After that, my material life was like a waning moon. Nothing really that I had been doing before was any longer satisfying. And I would just remember that and think of Prabhupada and want to do more and more devotional service. That was the effect that Srila Prabhupada had.
Prabhupada had been in LA for 8 months. It was just the longest period of time. I mean, the devotees in LA had become so accustomed to Prabhupada's presence every day. And they just had him. And they just cherished him. And the LA temple was just growing like anything. Prabhupada's presence just seemed to make everything blossom. Devotees were joining every day. Everything was really expanding. So the devotees were very attached to Prabhupada. 8 months he had been there. Then not only was he leaving, which they kind of thought that he would never leave, and the LA temple had set itself up, it was managing in such a way that he didn't have to manage directly. He had good managers there and he was very pleased with it. So he could stay there peacefully and do his translation work and do his writing and do whatever he wanted, and there was no inconvenience for him. So when Prabhupada said he was leaving, it was a shock. And then not only did he say he was leaving, but he said because he was old, he said there's a good chance he wouldn't return, but we should carry on the movement anyway. So the devotees took that very hard. At the airport, everyone was crying. We ran out to the fence to watch the plane. And new devotees, old devotees, everybody was crying.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama